If you have purchased Lentor Mansion or are considering to look into Emerald of Katong, you will be holding a smaller size property as compared to similar age projects which are bigger in size. So is GFA harmonization really good for you as a buyer, or how would it affect you especially as a future seller? In this video, I'll weigh out the pros and cons of buying into a harmonized development and provide you with solutions at the end. Emerald of Katong is located at Jalan Tembusu, which is developed by Sim Lian Group with a total of 846 units. Now, what got a lot of buyers excited is that Sim Lian Group have actually secured this land cheaper than its neighbouring Tembusu Grand, which launched in April 2023 with an average price of 2465 PSF. So the big question here is if Emerald of Katong will be launched cheaper because of the lower land cost. One thing to note is that Emerald of Katong falls under the GFA Harmonization ruling, which means that the pricing will need to be reflected in the new standard. To gauge its launch price, let's take a look at Lentor Mansion, the first harmonized project, and compare it to a non-harmonized project, Lentoria, which both of them are actually launching at the same time in March 2024. Lentoria's land price is sold at 1,130 PSF, while Lentor Mansion is sold at 985 PSF, with a difference in land price of 145 PSF or 14.7%. Now let's look at the cheapest launch prices of their 2 bedrooms as an example. Lentoria was sold at 1,965 PSF, while Lentor Mansion was sold at 2,156 PSF, a difference of 191 PSF or 9.7%. So the total price difference between the harmonized project Lentor Mansion and non-harmonized project Lentoria is projected to be about 24.4%. So if we were to apply this logic and use it as a reference, we will be able to infer how much Emerald of Katong is going to be launched at. So coming back to Emerald of Katong, who bought their land at 1069 PSF, and comparing that to their non-harmonized neighbour Tembusu Grand, who bought their land at 1302 PSF, making the difference in land price to be $233 PSF or 21.8%. With a difference of 24.4% as a reference for price difference between a harmonized and non-harmonized project, Emerald of Katong would then be projected to be selling at 2.6% more expensive than Tembusu Grand. Taking the cheapest 2-bedroom unit that is sold at Tembusu Grand, which is at 2,280 PSF, we can expect Emerald of Katong to have a starting price of 2,339 PSF. For those unfamiliar, GFA harmonization is a change of how unit size is being measured. Under the new ruling, only livable space is considered, so non-functional spaces like aircon ledges are no longer part of the gross selling area. So this is great news, but it also means units are going to be smaller. Take Lentor Mansion, which is the first project that is launched under the GFA harmonization ruling. One of the main things that is noticeable is that the size of the unit is significantly smaller as compared to surrounding projects. The size of a 2-bedroom unit in Lentor Mansion is 527 square feet, which is equivalent to the size of all the other 1-bedders in the older projects in this area. We can also see that the size of its 3-bedroom in Lentor Mansion also starts from 786 square feet, whereas the other projects start from 900 square feet. Despite being quite similar in terms of transaction price, we can see that Lentor Mansion has a higher average PSF due to its size. This means that selling is going to be more challenging for you as a resale owner. Just imagine there are so many projects for sale in Lentor, it will not be easy for future buyers 5 or 10 years down the road to remember which projects are harmonized or not. Therefore, the most sensible way for the buyers to actually shortlist properties is by filtering their searches on property portals based on size first. If they have a filter of 900 square feet, for example, Lentor Mansion's 786 square feet unit will not appear in the searches. Even if buyers do not filter by size, the price per square foot is going to be drastically different. Here are the average purchase prices of Lentor collection. If we factor in a 300,000 profit for all these projects, you will see that the average selling PSF for a Lentor Mansion 3-bedroom is significantly higher than the rest, at 2,670 PSF, whereas the rest are around 2,300 PSF. So in this case, is it better to avoid GFA harmonized project entirely? Well, actually, it really depends. Let's use Lentor Hills Residence, which is not a harmonized project, to compare and illustrate further. This example will clearly show if GFA harmonization may or may not benefit you. First, let's compare the 2-bed, 2-bath units between Lentor Mansion and Lentor Hill Residences. So on the left, we have Lentor Mansion's floor plan at 657 square feet. On the right, we have Lentor Hills Residences at 678 square feet. Just by looking at the floor plan, it is normal to think that Lentor Hills is bigger in size. However, after deducting Lentor Hills' aircon latch, which is included in the total square footage of the house, it would then make the 2-bedder now 646 square feet, making it smaller than Lentor Mansion's 657 square feet. In this scenario, it's actually beneficial for you to get a harmonized project like Lentor Mansion, since there isn't much difference in terms of floor plan and you are definitely paying for the full space. However, this is completely different if we are actually comparing the 4-bedroom units. Let's go back to Lentor as an example. Lentor Mansion's 4-bedroom unit 1227 square feet is significantly smaller than Lentor Hills Residences at 1345 square feet. There is a size difference of about 118 square feet, although both sizes are still pretty similar. After we remove the AC ledges in Lentor Hills, the layout will still be much preferred by resale buyers, especially as the 4-bedroom units are mostly bought by families for their own stay. Therefore, functionality and livability are very important. Firstly, the living room is wider by 0.5 meters, giving the illusion of a bigger space. Secondly, the kitchen is also larger with a separate yard area. Thirdly, the house has 2 storerooms, which many resale buyers would prefer, as one of it can be used for their helper and the other for a household storage. Next, for the 2 common bedrooms are also bigger at 10 square meters. Lastly, in this layout, there are 2 common bathrooms instead of 1, which is an important attribute for a 4-bedroom unit. Even though there is no junior master bedroom, bedroom 4 is attached to a bathroom, which is essential for buyers who will stay with their elderly parents or young couples who prefer to stay with their family. This way, they will still feel more exclusive, having a bathroom they can use of their own. What's even more important is that both 4 bedrooms were commanding a very similar price quantum at around 2.7 million, which means buyers of Lentor Mansion has the choice to choose a better layout with a lower PSF with the same budget. So the key takeaway we have here based on the 2-bedroom and 4-bedroom comparison is that we really have to go deep and analyze based on layout to determine if it's better for you to buy a GFA harmonized project. Now, what happens if you have already purchased a GFA harmonized project? What is the strategy that you should opt for when it comes to selling your unit in the resale market? The key is to use educational videos to showcase your property. You will need to show buyers that sizes of all unit types in Lentor Mansion do not include the aircon latch area, meaning that the actual livable space is actually very similar to surrounding developments. Take Lentor Mansion's 1023 square feet 3-bedder as an example. All of Lentor Mansion's 1023 square feet is usable space, excluding the aircon latch area. And when you compare it to other 3-bedroom units in Lentor Modern, we can clearly see that Lentor Mansion has the biggest living and dining area. And this is the same for the common bedrooms as well. For Lentoria, the aircon latch takes up to 5 square meters, meaning the actual usable space is 99.3 square meters or equivalent to 1068 square feet, which is comparable to Lentor Mansion. For Lentor Modern, the total usable space without the aircon latch is 97.5 square meters, equivalent to 1049 square feet, also comparable to Lentor Mansion. Now let's compare similar 3-bedrooms in Hillock Green and Lentor Hill Residence. Hillock Green's 3-bedroom unit is the same size on paper as Lentor Mansion, but the actual usable space is only 89 square meters or 965 square feet after removing the aircon latch area. In the meantime, Lentor Hills Residence total usable space without the aircon latch is 96 square meters, equivalent to 1033 square feet. This means that the actual usable space of 3 bedrooms in Hillock Green and Lentor Hills Residences is smaller than Lentor Mansion's 3-bedroom of 1023 square feet. So with illustrations like this, it's easier to show that Lentor Mansion has its livable space uncompromised even though it appears to be smaller in size. In summary, based on the examples above, whether you are buying or selling, this is the kind of homework that needs to be done so as to ensure that you are in a favorable position to maximize your profits and prevent any further roadblocks in the future. However, the most important factor to determine whether Emerald of Katong is a safe purchase that aligns with your exit strategy is choosing the right unit type, stack, and price point. Evaluating if the price difference between various types, stacks, or even paying a premium just for a better facing is justified will be crucial. Once the floor plans are released, I will dive deep into the details to help you make a more well-informed decision. If you're interested in booking a show flat preview, please feel free to reach out via my contact methods below. Once again, my name is Melissa and I'll see you in the next one.